Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Joe, and I wanted to give a quick update. I just got my camper back 2 days ago. I've been boondocking since then to kind of get a feel for things and make sure that everything is fixed the way that it should be. I'm happy to report that most of it is. There's a couple of follow-ups, they're minor, that the dealer owes me. And there were a couple of things that I had to adjust after the fact that they had just overlooked. So I wanted to quickly just take you through some of those issues. I'll try not to make this video too long, but I wanted to show you at least the issues that I've been having. Hopefully they're useful to you in case you have these same issues. I'm actually at a Ford dealership today. My tow vehicle is a Ford F-150 and it's been having some issues. So I brought it in for some warranty work. My best advice, and I hate to say it, is it may not be the best time to buy one of these, anything new that was built during the pandemic period or during this period where we're having such big supply chain issues, because apparently we're also having these quality control issues, at least in my humble experience. So if you can wait, might be a good idea. Otherwise, you might have some of these same headaches that I've had, but hopefully we can at least help you through those. So let me walk around the back, and we'll start at the back on the driver's side and just highlight a couple of the things that I had them address. The first thing was the wastewater valve. It was leaking, and when you remove the cap, it would pour water onto your feet. Their fix, it's not exactly the fix that I was hoping, but at least it was less invasive probably. They did just add another gate valve. It seems to do the trick. No, time will tell, but that was their solution. The biggest issue that I had was actually related to the electrical system. So I'll walk you through a couple of those things. Main issue that I had was with the battery. It was not powering the inverter, which was not powering the camper, so the air conditioner wasn't working, and so everything wasn't working. In fact, it was so bad that the battery could not even power the 12-volt LED lights inside the camper. So I finally got them to agree to replace it, and in doing so, we learned a couple of things that Winnebago tells me they'll be correcting in future trailers. So one of those things is the cabling size on this battery. They apparently put a larger cable size than was recommended by Lithionics. I don't know why it made a difference, but long story short, they reduced the cable size and everything seems to work. They also replaced the battery, of course. This battery is a little bit of an upgraded model, which is what they're going to be putting in the campers going forward, is what they tell me. Evidently, the battery that my camper came with was one of their first production units, and it didn't have some of the safety features that these new ones have. I couldn't quote to you what those safety features are, but that's what Lithionics tells me. I don't understand it, but one thing that the camper did is, because the battery was bad, for some strange reason, it was backfeeding through the 120 volt system, or at least that's what they told me, and had caused my power cord to overheat and bubble up and melt. So they replaced my power cord with this big yellow one. I'm not crazy about the bright yellow color, but it works. So I guess I can't complain. All right, so let's take to the other side. You'd have to remove this panel, which covers up the battery, just so you can see what's going on down there. This was not an issue beforehand, but I wanted to point it out just in case you have the same issue. When they called me to tell me that the camper was ready, they said, we've hooked everything back up. The solar panels are charging the battery as they should. The inverter's working, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, when I got there, the solar panel was not putting any power to the batteries, and it was a simple fix, but it makes me wonder if they've really tested everything. So time will tell. The issue was that they had taken out the fuse and forgot to put it back in. So just make sure you have a good fuse in there. It's very simple to tell when you look at the solar controller remote, because it'll say 0 amps going to the battery. And in fact, it'll actually show 0 volts on bank 1. There's 2 banks available, but they only are using the first bank. So that's one thing to look for. The other thing is that the inverter was not turning off when you push the switch on the inverter remote. Simple thing, but there is another on-off switch on the inverter itself that they had left on. And so regardless of what position the switch was inside the camper, the inverter was always on. So that drained my battery a little quicker than expected. So I would keep an eye out for that and make sure this switch is off, and then you can power it on or off using the remote. All right, so now let's take you back inside. Oh, there's my guard dog. Hey, buddy. All right, so everything up here is working as it should. Right now I'm parked in partial shade, so I'm not picking up a lot of amperage from the solar panels, but you can see at least a little bit is coming through. And again, you can see bank 1 is reading 13.1 volts, as it should. The voltage is going to range, but it does show that it is connected to a battery, and it is putting some small amount of charge to the battery currently. So a couple of you have asked, how much time realistically will this system power the AC while boondocking? My experience obviously is going to be anecdotal at best, but what I will say is that for me, the first night of boondocking, and I live in Florida, so it's nice and warm, I was using the air conditioner, the microwave, though not at the same time, and a couple of hours on the television. And I drained the battery down from 100% to 60% that night. But that first night, I had not realized that the inverter was constantly running. So even when I went to bed at night, the inverter drained the battery, even when I wasn't using the air conditioner and everything else. So again, fixing that just by pushing that little button on the inverter itself, you get more time. Last night, I drained my battery about 20% is all, from 100% down to 80%. The solar panels charged the battery yesterday. It was a cloudy day, and in the morning, at least, I was parked in the shade. So I was only able to pick up about 15 to 20%, if I recall. On a bright and sunny day where you're parked in full sun, I'd anticipate better. We'll have to kind of play with that a little bit more and see. But at high noon, the max that I was getting was 290 watts out of the 380 watt solar panels. So I'll have to play with everything a little bit more and learn the capabilities of this system. I will add that the inverter has plenty power to power everything in your camper. Interestingly, I was hooked up to my tow vehicle, which is an F-150 Power Boost that has the Pro Power on board. It's got a 7.2 kilowatt generator built in. Interestingly though, the truck could not power the microwave in the camper. It said that the camper was pulling too much power from the truck and shut everything down. I have this system set up to be an uninterruptible power supply. So the inverter in the camper just kicked on, and I didn't even notice any difference until I went back out to the truck and I noticed that it was off. So I will say I'm very happy with the inverter. It's a great inverter. I was worried that there was issues with it, but apparently all the issues that I was having was related to the battery. All right, so one of the other issues, and it's a minor issue that was not specifically related to these FLX packages, but this sofa evidently does not lock in place. So if you are towing and hit a bump in the road, that sofa is likely to slide out. And this little connection, by the way, I don't travel with this table connected, but this little connection plate right here damaged my cabinet door. So the dealership is replacing that. They're going to mail it to me and then I'll install it. So their solution was to, and it's kind of inelegant, but it works. They put a strap which holds the couch in place. So far, it seems to be doing the trick. By the way, I should point out, as you look around the camper, don't expect to see some of these things. I've started to do some upgrades myself. I'll make another video just to share with you at least the upgrades that I did, maybe to give you some inspiration. If you want to see more or less what the camper looked like from stock, I would say go back to my earlier video. One thing that I asked them, and I don't have a resolution on, I actually emailed Truma as well, is this air conditioner. I pointed it out in my last video. The fan on the air conditioner does not turn off when your set temperature is reached, which is annoying to me, both because it's loud and because it's just an unnecessary draw on the battery if you're boondocking. And it's just additional wear and tear on the motors and all the components. If, for instance, you want to leave your pets in the camper while you go about your day and keep them nice and climate controlled in your camper. The problem is the entire time you're gone, the fan on the air conditioner will be running. Again, it's just a lot of wear and tear that's unnecessary. So I reached out to Truma. Winnebago didn't have a great response. They wouldn't. It's really a Truma issue. We'll see if they respond. But what I asked is, is there some kind of component that I can add to the system so that it does act like almost any other North American air conditioning system, which shuts off when it reaches the set temperature. And if they do come up with something, or if I do find something that will achieve that result, I'll update you guys and let you know. Well, folks, I think that's all I've got for you today. If this was helpful to you in any way, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And let me know if there's anything that you would like me to cover in the future. I still have some ideas for future videos. But if there's anything you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you. We'll see ya. Bye.